In this video, I'm going to micro-dissect and manipulate drum loops using StudioVerse. So to start, I'm going to create a parallel split. So here I have the original input, and here I can start manipulating it. I'm going to create a low-pass filter. So I'm going to concentrate only on the lows. Let's solo this channel. Select a cutoff point, something like that. Nice. Now let's solo the other one. On this one, I'm going to get rid of the transients and just boost the room and the kind of residual noise. So let's listen to them both together. Nice. Let's create another split. Activate it. Here I want exactly the opposite, so I want to be able to control the transients. So I'm going to, let's solo it. I'm just going to bring up the transients. I can use a band pass filter because I want just the mids to be affected. I'm not going to be as harsh as a low pass and a high pass. I'm just going to use two shelves. Something like that. Let's hear it all together. And let's create another one. And this will be our high frequencies. Let's solo it. Here I can use a high pass. So I'm just going to flip it to a high pass around this range. And here I'm going to boost the top by using vitamin. Something like that. So let's hear it all together. Now, there's a lot of phasing here because of the filtering that's happening. So I'm going to try, I can hear it mainly on the high channel. Yes. So let's use in phase and try to find the frequency that we can shift the phase on. So reversing the phase already helps. But here I can really scan the frequencies. I think I need to do something like that. Actually, this worked well. It's still slightly phasey, but it gives me a lot of control. Let's bypass the whole thing. So that's the original loop. And this is what we're doing to it. To be fair, let's bring the levels down a bit. Now I have control over the lows. I have control over the punch or presence and the kind of ambient room space where this whole loop is playing. I think I need to change the crossover point. And actually, I think the phasing is happening because of the steepness of the filter. So I'm going to change it to a shelf. Yeah, that's better. Let's hear it without the in phase. No, definitely needed, but we can find a better frequency. somewhere here. Okay, so this is our modified loop. Let's bypass it. And in. I have a lot of control just with 4 faders. Let's try different loops. So bypass. So here, if I want to tame the lows, I can easily do that. I can also make it more present and dry if I want to hear the toms. If I want them to cut through in the mix, that could be helpful. Let's try it on another loop. So again, bypass. And in. We're very dry. Let's bring the space back, and so here we can tame the transients and give it more top. Another loop. Bypass. Definitely enhancing the overall sound, and we have a lot of control with just 4 faders. I'm not even using any macros because these 4 faders are enough for what I need right now. Here, definitely taming the lows. We don't need it to be so wet. Yeah, so we can really change the kind of nature of the loop. Another one. So if I wanted to make it more dry, more top, bypass. Definitely giving it some shape. So here, if I want to go more old school, vintage sounding, but I can make it really pump as well. So this is just splitting it to 4 racks, but I have the entire broadband rack. So let's find a nice compressor, maybe the V-Comp, to put over the whole thing. That's a bit much. Without. Yeah, that's nice. Let's try another loop. Definitely more dry. We don't need so many highs, and we can get the snare action. So with very minor adjustments, I can achieve a lot. I can make it like really soft if I have other kind of kick and snare playing in the mix where I don't need to hear those details. I can just basically get rid of them. Another loop. Yeah, I can, if I wanted to, I could just use that as an effect. Bypass. So just going through that chain gives it some more power. Go through a few more. The more content you have in the high end, the more of the phasing we're gonna hear. I can try and change the filters I'm using to create the crossover to linear phase filters, and that will reduce the phasing. So let's get some linear phase. We don't need all these bands. We just need the low, and we're going to create the low pass. Our cross point is 142. So we're just going to bypass this one and copy that. 142. That's a little bit more steep than we had. We can do something like that. The shape of the filter is not identical, but it will be close enough. Here we're using just a gentle filter. So let's try to do the same. So I'm going to create a low shelf here and a high shelf, something like that. Bypass. And here we have a gentle slope. I think that since we're using a linear phase filter, we can now get a more steeper filter. Let's copy this across and just use a high pass, something like that. We don't need the rest of the bands. We don't need it to be resonant. Yeah, something like that. Now let's hear it. Now we may not need the in phase, although it gives it some, still gives it some character. So yeah, this is more coherent. Let's try it on some of the loops. Bypass. Nice. Bypass. That's a nice kind of default setting. I'm going to share this preset and make it available. If you like this video, you know what to do, and I'll see you on the next one.